Hi, I'm Ward Blackwell. Welcome to Front Street 411. We're starting this time with something we covered last time, masking in waiting rooms. And that's because we've heard several reports indicating there is still a good bit of a confusion on this topic. Now, that's understandable that some members are confused about which guidance to follow. The CDC did not expressly address whether there is any distinction between waiting rooms and the rest of the practice. Some healthcare facilities here in Pennsylvania aren't requiring masks in their waiting areas. Some practices in other states aren't requiring masks in their waiting rooms. And the ADA resource that lays out how the different CDC guidance applies in different areas seems to say that everyone can choose which guidance applies in their waiting room. So, I'm going to do my best to be as straightforward as possible and eliminate the confusion. The CDC has put out two guidance documents that are at issue here. One introduces the metric of community levels as a factor in evaluating whether or not masks should be worn in public areas. The other provides infection control guidance for healthcare settings in the continuing COVID pandemic. As I just noted, the ADA produced a resource that indicates members can decide which of these two CDC guidance documents applies in their waiting area. However, the ADA piece includes one very important caveat, that state or local guidelines and mandates should be followed where they exist, as they do in Pennsylvania. There is guidance from Pennsylvania's Department of Health, or DOH, that says if you have a Pennsylvania dental license, you should adhere to the CDC interim infection control guidance for healthcare settings. The very first line of the CDC guidance for healthcare says that the new COVID community level recommendations do not apply in healthcare settings. And DOH has specifically looked at this and confirmed that they view this CDC guidance as applying to all areas of a healthcare facility. Finally, while some will correctly point out that the CDC guidance clearly says it is recommendations, it would be an overstatement to claim dentists can simply choose whether or not to follow them. After all, the Pennsylvania State Board of Dentistry has a rule that basically says not following these recommendations is grounds for disciplinary action. Now, as long as we're striving for clarity, let me be clear that the PDA is not the authority issuing mandates to dentists about masks. Issuing mandates is not what we do. It's not what we've done. PDA strives to be the voice for dentistry in this state that you can trust to get it right. So we always look closely at these government rules and guidelines and advisories and try to decipher all that information for our members. And if you're still unsure about any of it, please feel free to contact the PDA's Government Relations Department for assistance anytime. Of course, even with the PDA helping you navigate it all, the rules and information overload can be stressful. Thankfully, the Lorna Breen Healthcare Provider Protection Act was signed into law this month, and it seeks to reduce the stigma of providers seeking mental health assistance. Now, it's named for an emergency room physician who tragically died from suicide, but the new law allocates specific funds towards grants for training health students, residents, or healthcare professionals in evidence-based strategies to reduce and prevent suicide, burnout, mental health conditions, and substance use disorders. Now, for more immediate help dealing with stress and burnout, don't forget that PDA is offering a webinar on mental health and burnout April 12th at 7 p.m. And you don't have to stress about the cost because it's free. Well, we're going to wrap this up and get ready for tomorrow when we wrap up March Madness. Though my bracket was busted so quick, it seemed the madness began even before March. See you next time.